Are we? Vuyokazi? 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 Kholiswa? Sherin? Sherin?
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, members. Good morning, colleagues. Yes,
How are you?
Fine, and you?
Fine. Sabelo is in the meeting.
Yes, Sabelo is in the meeting.
Okay, but I don't see Kholiswa or Vuyokazi, the secretaries.
Koliswa, I think, is on leave,
Okay.
but Vuyokazi is supposed to coordinate this meeting.
Okay, where is she now?
I'll give her a call now.
Okay. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6 by me. Good morning, honorable members. Good morning, members.
Good morning, Chairperson.
I don't know what's happening with the secretariat. They are not in the meeting. So, but the agenda of the meeting today, as members, you've got the notice, is to adopt the annual report of water and sanitation, and the minutes that goes with the annual report, and then adopt the annual report of the HDA with its minutes. So there's the agenda. Who's putting the agenda up? I don't know who's putting the agenda up, but the person I'm trying to check who's she or doesn't speak to me. Honorable members, there's the agenda. Let me take this opportunity to welcome honorable members to this meeting. As I've indicated and outlined the agenda of today, I'm going to request that we observe a moment of silence for meditation and prayer. As we put our country and those that have left us through the pandemic, and those that are admitted in hospital, we wish them well. And ask intervention from the above for all the challenges that the country is facing. Can we observe moment of silence, meditation, or prayer? Thank you very much. Do we have any apologies?
Okay. Yes, Chairperson, we do have apology. Mr. Passon won't be able to attend the meeting today.
Okay, thank you very much. Where's the agenda? Can you put it back on the screen? Can we then go to the item number 4 on the BRRR report of water and sanitation, and I'll request that it's the minutes. Let's put the minutes and the report itself for water, so that when we're done with water, we know that we're done, and then we'll then put the minutes of when we're dealing with the HDA. With the HDA report. And then before we close, Viogas, because I couldn't ask us to put anything because you're not there, you can then brief members about the Lesotho trip, what needs to happen. You can put it as item number 7 and then closure.
Okay, Chairperson.
Okay. So can I confirm with members that we agree with the agenda?
Agreed, Chairperson. Let's proceed.
Second up.
Second, that's Chair.
Thank you
Second.
very much. With the addition that I've put that the Lesotho trip, we'll now go to item number 4, which is the consideration of and the adoption of the budget review on water and sanitation, and its minutes. Can we then share in?
Is the report visible? Hello, is the report visible?
Members, are you able to see the report?
Yes, Chair.
Yes, and you have received the copies most in time.
Yes, Chairperson.
Yes, Shireen, you can lead us in the report.
Once again, morning, Chairperson, members and colleagues. I'm not going to read the report verbatim. What I'll do is I'll read the observations and recommendations verbatim, as those are the most critical oversight components of members' concerns on the 2019-2020 annual report of the department. I think we must also take into cognizance that because the BRRR is a retrospective document, and what happened as well is that the Department of Water and Sanitation also provided the report 2 months later, which meant that our work was only concluded toward the drafting of the budgetary review and recommendation report in March 2021. So one of the reasons was the non-tabling of the annual report was because the department had to correct some of the findings of the Auditor General before resubmitting its financial statements to the Auditor General. I'm not going to go through, I'm just going to give you an overview. The Budgetary Review and Recommendation Report is one of the critical oversight mechanisms as per the provisions of the Moneyballs Amendment Procedure and Related Matters Act of 2009. It assesses service delivery performance given the available resources, evaluate the effective and efficient use and forward allocation of resources, and make recommendations on the forward use of resources. When we move to the background, I already sketched why the report was late. The next one, I think it's quite well known amongst members that the mandate of the Portfolio Committee within the Constitution as well as the rules of Parliament. The purpose of the Budgetary Review and Recommendation Report, I just went over that now. And then Section 3, overview of the work of the Department of Water and Sanitation. For the 2019, members, please understand that I am not reading these sections verbatim. I'm going to give a quick summary of each of the sections. For the 2019-20 financial year, a number of achievements were attained by the Department of Water and Sanitation. These included in the main, the launch of the master plan, unqualified audit outcomes for the main account and water trading entity, completion of 108 municipal strategic self-assessments, amongst others. Other policies, this is critical as well, because still these are the period under review also included several policies that are still under development. So I think going forward, when we begin to look at our oversight agenda items, we also need to track the progress of the mine water management policy, sustainable hydropower generation policy, and the integrated water quality management policy. The mandate 3.1 highlights the mandate, national plans and strategies underpinning the work of the department and entities. These relate to the Constitution, the National Water Act, Water Services Act, Water Research Act, the National Development Plan, and the Medium-Term Strategic Framework. The policy imperatives guiding the work of the department relate to the National Water Policy Review, the National Sanitation Policy. Other water and sanitation policies include the following: the White Paper on Water Supply and Sanitation, White Paper on National Water Policy for South Africa, the White Paper on Basic Household Sanitation, Strategic Framework for Water Services, National Water Resources Strategy, 2nd edition, and Water and Sanitation Climate Change Policy. On page 4, section 3.3, the Department of Planning Monitoring, and Evaluation provided an overview of the implementation and proposed targets set by the department as highlighted in the medium-term strategic framework. The TPME noted that the water and sanitation sector is located within outcome 1, water security, contribution to GDP growth by increasing infrastructure investment by both public and private sectors as noted in the National Development Plan. In terms of outcome 1, the department achieved 100% on updating the National Water and Sanitation Master Plan, and 88% of applications for water use authorizations finalized within 300 days. The next outcome was to improve ecological infrastructure. This relates to how natural resources are managed, and sectors and municipalities can respond to the impact of climate change. With regard to that, the department exceeded some targets such as the monitoring of ecosystems and water use compliance. And the last outcome relates to the access to basic services, improved access to safe drinking water to 95%, access to adequate sanitation and hygiene to 90%, and ensuring that 100% of wastewater treatment works are operational. With this, on this outcome 3, the department achieved a 77% against the projected 100% target in an annual assessment of all water services authorities, 100% achievement for developing the conceptual framework for National Sanitation Integrated Plan, 692 bucket sanitation systems were replaced. There is an agreement with the HDA to be the implementing agent. The number of households, this comes from the General Household Survey of 2018. The number of households with access to piped water increased was 14.3 million. In 2017, that's 88.6% to 14.8 households, that's 89% in 2018. The number of households with access to improved sanitation increased from 13.3 million, 82% of total households in 2017, to 13.7, 83% of total households in 2018. Some of the factors highlighted by the DPME that affected the achievements of performance targets relate to additional funding needed over the next 10 years to achieve water security, as highlighted in the master plan. 48 of the 144 of water services authorities are regarded as dysfunctional, with limited technical staff, which results in a slow pace of delivery. And of the 278 municipalities in South Africa, 202 are without civil engineers. And the last issue that they found were the challenges within the procurement process, which results in delays in contracting. Then I moved to the financial and non-financial performance of the Department of Water and Sanitation. On an allocation for the 2019-20 financial year was 16.4 billion and 15.2 billion was spent. Under expenditure was 1.2 billion. A low spending related to commitments that still had to be certified at the end of the year under review. And the reasons for the under expenditure per program were vacant posts, delays in projects due to procurement challenges. I'll move on to the performance of the main account. That gives you the table that you can look at, which highlights the adjusted appropriations, the shifting of funds, the environments, the final, the actual expenditure, and the variance and percentage expenditure for the 2019-2020. When we come to the Program 1, the reasons for underspending per program. On Program 1, 70% of planned targets was achieved. The department received an unqualified audit opinion. However, the debtors days reduction to 150 days was not met. On Program 2, they achieved 53% of targets, which relate to the update of the National Water and Sanitation Master Plan, climate change risk and vulnerability assessment completed. The targets that were not achieved, the development of the National Water Resources Strategy, which is overdue by 2 years. Then we move on to Program 3. It achieved 90%. It achieved 90% of its target. Program 3. Program 3 achieved 35% of its targets, and some targets that were not achieved: strategic infrastructure development and management on bulk raw water projects. Protracted negotiations with relevant municipalities had delayed some projects, and only 4 of the water projects under construction was completed due to delays in the appointment of the service provider. Planned maintenance projects were affected due to difficulties in getting maintenance contracts. On Program 4, the department achieved 75% of its planned targets, and they did not achieve the failure to gazette the remaining catchment management agencies and the regional water utilities for establishment as planned. The independent economic regulator has also been put on hold. The audit outcome of the main account, audit outcome remained unchanged, reflecting an unqualified opinion. However, the Auditor General highlighted the following areas of concern: expenditure management, prevention of irregular expenditure, conditional grants not spent under the applicable framework as required by Section 17(1) of the Division of Revenue Act during the year, as it was not supported by cash on hand. On consequence management, the auditee did not obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence that disciplinary steps were taken against officials who had incurred irregular expenditure. The leadership instability persisted at top management level, that is, accounting officer and chief financial officer. The management did not implement adequate controls to prevent and detect non-compliance with laws and regulations, which resulted in irregular and fruitless and wasteful expenditure. The water trading entity, I'm not going to go through the background in terms of its establishment and the purpose of the water trading entity. In terms of the financial performance for the 2019-20 financial year, the revenue was higher due to increased billing and revenue from exchange transactions. Expenditure decreased mainly due to lower operating expenditure, depreciation, and finance costs. The total expenditure on the water trading entity decreased by 15% during the 2019-20 financial year, from 12.5 billion in 2018-19 to 10.7 billion in 2019-20. The operating expenditure for the year under review amounted to 3.1 billion, which was 30% lower than the 4.5 spent in 2018-19. This decrease was due to underspending on maintenance and repair costs, which can be attributed to the fact that there was no maintenance term contract. Then the next paragraph looks at the operating surplus. And I think I'm just going to look at the further financial issues in the water trading entity for the 1920 financial year, which include the following. On the entity's liquidity status, the current ratio has increased from 1.64 in the 2018-19 financial year to 3.7 in the 2019-20 financial year. However, the water trading entity still does not have sufficient liquid assets to meet short-term financial obligations. The cash flow is tied to the outstanding debts owed by mostly the municipalities and water boards. On cash flow from operating activities, the entity has a positive flow from operating activities to the amount of 8.3 billion, and this can be attributed to the increased augmentation allocation and revenue collection. The cash and cash equivalent reflect a favorable balance of 1 billion at the end of the financial year under review. The entity has since put measures in place to follow up on the recoverable debts and implement cash flow management strategies while still complying with the 30-day payment period as per the Public Finance Management Act. On debtor days analysis, the entity noted a slight improvement compared to the previous year from 205 in 2018-19 to 119 in 2019-20. The debtors collection days indicates that the entity is still struggling to recover debts payable by the municipalities and water boards, and its cash is thus tied on the outstanding accounts. The audit opinion of the water trading entity. The water trading entity's audit outcome improved to an unqualified financial audit. However, the auditee noted that the water trading entity, the auditor noted that the WTE still had material and significant findings on compliance with legislation, resulting from material misstatements to financial statements and inadequate internal controls on financial and expenditure management. In summary, the following was highlighted. Procurement and contract management terms and conditions were not the same for a contract in another organ of state regarding IT consultants. Expenditure management, lack of prevention management of irregular expenditure, fruitless and wasteful expenditure, and payments were not made within 30 days. Management did not perform adequate reviews and reconciliation on the financial statements submitted for audit and underlying information, as financial statements submitted contained material misstatements which were corrected as a result of the audit process. Then we move on to the overview of the entity supporting the work of the department for the 2019-20 financial year. On the Water Research Commission, the Water Research Commission received an unqualified audit opinion and had an achievement of all 38 primary indicators. And on the transformation statistics, the WRC showed that it's doing well. On financials, WRC managed to maintain income growth at 64.5 million. Then I'm going to move to the Trans-Caledon Tunnel Authority. TCTA received an unqualified audit opinion with an achievement of 43% of targets. Although TCTA achieved an unqualified opinion, concerns raised with regard to this entity were related to tariff receivables, cash equivalents, long-term finance market liabilities, and royalty payment to the Lesotho Highlands Development Authority. I'll move on to the BRRR. BRRR should be commended for its clean audit opinion, and of the proposed targets of 31, 27 were achieved. On the Inkomati Lesotho, it received an qualified audit opinion, and it attained an overall performance of 84%. I'm going to pay far more attention to number 6, the observations and the recommendations. Members of the Portfolio Committee raised the following issues, questions regarding the Department of Water and Sanitation and entities briefings, the audit outcomes, main account and water trading entity. Although the main account and water trading entity had received unqualified audit outcomes, concerns raised by the Auditor General, such as the instability caused by the non-appointment of senior personnel and improving internal controls, were highlighted as a concern. Recommendation, the Portfolio Committee recommended that the department should implement the findings of the Auditor General. I'd just like to point out that the recommendations don't have a time frame, because as we moved into looking at the department's quarterly expenditure reports for the 2020-21 financial year, we noted that they were beginning to address some of the issues contained in the Auditor General's report of 2018-19, and some of it has been corrected during the 2021 financial year. Regarding the Trans-Caledon Tunnel Authority's internal control weaknesses, the Auditor General noticed weaknesses in internal controls relating to inadequate reviews and reconciliations of the submitted financial statements. These did not agree to underlying supporting information. There was a lack of adequate review processes and controls by senior personnel. There was also a slow response by management to information requests. The Auditor General also found that management did not implement adequate record keeping promptly. On implementing the Lesotho Highlands Water Project that occurred across borders, specific supporting schedules were not obtained. There is, however, positive impact as a result of management exercising stringent budget controls. The Portfolio Committee recommended that TCTA should implement the Auditor General's findings and provide a progress report to the Portfolio Committee. As I said before, in the course of the 2021 oversight of the quarterly reports, the Portfolio Committee could ask for progress reports on each of these issues. 6.3, specific targets not implemented for the year under review as per targets in the medium-term strategic framework. The DPME noted that some targets were not implemented in the year under review in respect of the following: the 5-year water and sanitation reliability plans for district municipalities, the assessment of water and wastewater treatment works for compliance with the blue and green drop regulatory requirements, which is planned for subsequent years, support to water services authorities to develop and implement municipal priority action plans, and the non-commencement of 9 refurbishment projects to address the functionality component of the WSA reliability implementation plans. The recommendation, the department should work with the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs to ensure the district development model's implementation to support all water services authorities meet their mandate. 6.4, unauthorized, sorry, I'm just admitting someone. 6.4, unauthorized, irregular, and fruitless and wasteful expenditure. In response to members' requests for further information on unauthorized, irregular, and fruitless and wasteful expenditure, the department noted that unauthorized expenditure remained the same from year-end 2020. There was a decrease in fruitless and wasteful expenditure after resolving the material issue with Amatola Water Board. On irregular expenditure, requests for condonation or writing off amounts depend on the conclusion of investigations of financial transgressions by the Special Investigating Unit and the South African Police Services. The department had processed condemnations to 9.5 billion for both the main account and water trading entity. The department was awaiting the SIU and court proceedings to be resolved before National Treasury decides on condoning the amounts. The recommendation in respect of that, the Portfolio Committee resolved that the department should fast-track and finalize the investigations and apply consequence management on those officials found transgressing and provide progress reports to the Portfolio Committee. The financial recovery plan of the department, work on the strategic objectives was being monitored. A significant area that is being monitored is accruals and payables. The recovery plan introduced measures to deal with the timely processing of supplies. However, some invoices were not paid in the prescribed time. Most of these invoices were related to historic invoices on the war on leaks and water service intervention projects, where the department had entered into agreements and would be paying off those debts for several years. This was mainly to ensure that the department did not incur more unauthorized expenditure. In relation to that, the Portfolio Committee recommended that the department adopt serious action plans within the internal controls to monitor and fast-track the payment of invoices. On 6.6, the financial performance challenges within the water trading entity. There was, members, I just want to highlight that when members give a detailed input, what the Secretariat does is that we collate that detailed input and highlight it as a statement so that the responses of the department in relation to that specific issue is far more detailed. There was a reduction of about 753 million for accruals. The water trading entity had payables of 1.2 billion, most of which was related to the TCTA payments. The trade receivables balance was 17.7 billion, which was an increase from the previous year. The debt book was high with many non-payments by water user municipalities, water boards, and other institutions. Measures were in place to resolve the water sales debt. Municipal debts were dealt with through the Interministerial Committee of the DWS, National Treasury, Eskom, Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, and the South African Local Government Association. There was also the enhancement of credit control measures in collaboration with municipalities, where repayment agreements were signed and legal action was taken against defaulting users. 6.6.1, the Portfolio Committee recommended that the department should collaborate and work with the Interministerial Committee to resolve debt across the water value chain. On the Nkomati Usutu Catchment Management Agency, in response to the agency's vacancies that members raised as a concern, the Nkomati Usutu Catchment Management Agency noted that communication on the board vacancies had been sent to the minister. The contract of the previous CEO expired in January 2021, and communication has been sent for ministerial concurrence. Currently, members of the executive are taking turns to perform the vacant position roles. The Portfolio Committee recommended that the minister ensure that prescribed schedules on board members and CEOs meet the legislative deadline to the respective professional service provider. To ensure that the bulk raw water projects under construction, the following is being done. On Zanin Dam, the procurement process for the professional service provider's appointment and the acquisition of construction material is being fast-tracked to commencing with site establishment. In addition, the design report is being finalized to obtain the license to construct. On Hazelmere Dam, the signing of the service level agreements with service providers is being fast-tracked to allow site re-establishment. In addition, a conditional appointment is issued to a specific service provider, subject to the finalization of the due diligence process. On Mzumvubu Dam, the discussion with the professional service providers to obtain deliverables is underway. In addition, the contractor is required to accelerate the procurement of goods and services for the project. The Portfolio Committee recommended that the department should implement project management plans with the associated budget within a prescribed time frame. 6.9, the establishment of regional utilities catchment management agency and independent economic regulator. The department noted the concerns raised by the members of the Portfolio Committee on the institutional realignment by rationalizing water boards to regional utilities as options to unlock expansion of services and provide progress reports in this regard. The Portfolio Committee recommended that the department fast-track water boards realignment to regional utilities and provide a progress report. 6.10, wastewater treatment works. Members requested further follow-up progress by the Municipal Infrastructure Support Agency and the department to expedite the assessment of the water and wastewater treatment works with regulatory requirements for the financial year, and further lead in the refurbishment of the treatment works that have become dysfunctional. The Portfolio Committee recommends that the department should strengthen the implementation of the polluter pay principle policy. The role of the TCTA within the proposed National Water Resource Infrastructure Agency. The TCTA would be directly affected when the proposed National Water Resources Infrastructure Agency is established. However, the proposed agency would still face the funding challenges that TCTA is facing presently. The Minister would provide direction on how TCTA works with the proposed agency. Improvements have been recorded in meeting deadline and tariff payment periods of water invoices. The primary debtor of TCTA is the department because the department stands surety for defaulters who do not pay tariffs at the right time. Funding agencies question payment shortfall on tariffs, and banks want more guarantees as the economy is presently challenged. The Portfolio Committee recommended that the department provide progress report on the establishment of the National Water Resources Infrastructure Agency. Report to be considered. Thank you, Chairperson and members, for your time.
Thank you, Shireen. Members, that was the report. Noting that this is the report that we play our oversight after the scheduled dates, and therefore we're adopting the annual report in the fourth quarter of the other annual financial year. So it should be important that that's why we thought to put time frame might not be helpful, but some of the resolutions can overlap into the other years because by nature they are they will overlap in the other years. So can we get members to interact with the report? I don't see any hands. Does it mean that members, can we get the mover for the adoption of the report if that's the case?
I do, Chair.
Mr. Mashiro, move for the adoption of the report. Can we get the seconder?
Chair, second.
Mr. Second, the report. Any dissenting view which is against the report? None. Thank you very much. The report is duly adopted.
Won't
Can-
be any, Chair.
Yes. Can we have the minutes that goes with the report? Can we flag them? Buyogazi?
Chairperson,
Yes, Honorable Leon.
would you please excuse me for this, where you're going to approve the minutes now? I've got to go and do a COVID test. So I've got to leave now. I've got to be there in 15 minutes. So if you maybe would excuse me.
Okay, Mr. Leon, and all of us who must go must to do those tests, Mr. Leon. But yeah, you're welcome to leave, Mr. Leon.
Unfortunately, I can't do it this afternoon. I've got to go and do it now. That's when they can assist me. So, you know, it was short notice and they had to push me in there. Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you, Mr. Leon. You are released. You are released, sir. Can we have the minutes?
Chairperson, I'm just going to flag the minutes, if you don't mind.
Okay. We're waiting, Sherry.
Yeah, sorry about that, Chair. Here's your minutes, Chairperson, of the 25th of March.
On my screen, there is nothing. I'm not sure whether members see them.
No, we can't see them, Chair.
No, there's
Okay.
nothing, Chair.
Screen, the window you select is invalid. That's strange.
Buyogazi, can you put the minutes? If sharing screen has got a problem. Buyogazi?
Okay, Chair, I got it on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Scroll it up. The minutes of the 25th of March 2021. Scroll it up.
It's on the first page, Chair.
Yes, scroll it up.
Down. Oh,
Oh, down, yes, yes. Sorry.
hmm.
On page 1, honorable members, are you able to push the entire page on the screen? So that members can see whether they are appearing or we've missed the.
I'm going to see now. I seem to have a problem.
Okay, can you scroll it to, let's scroll it and members will, as you scroll it, they'll be able to see to page 1. Okay, page 1, members, anything on page 1?
Except my initials, Chair. N2 preferable, not NN.
Okay,
No,
can we correct the initials of Comrade Honorable Mvana?
fine for N.
Is it
Yes.
correct?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let's proceed to page 2. Yes, anything on page 2, members?
None so far.
Thank you. Page 3. Anything on page 3?
It's fine, Chairperson. We don't say anything from it.
Okay. Page 4. Anything on page 4? And then the last one is page
Nothing,
6.
Chair.
Can we get the mover for the adoption of the minutes?
Mvana moves, Chair.
Honorable Mvana moves. Can we get the seconder? In the meantime, Sharon, put another one.
Okay.
Can we get the seconder of the minutes?
A second, Chair.
Yeah. Ubani lo?
Kumvana, you must second. There's no one to second.
Members, they are members of the meeting in the meeting. I can't second when I'm chairing.
Sishwai is seconding, Chair.
Sukhai is seconding. Thank you very much. The minutes has been seconded, and which reflect that it's the correct vision of what happened in that on that day of the 25th. Let's go to the next minutes.
Chair,
Yes,
can you see, are the minutes of the 30th of March visible?
I just see the resolution. I don't know which is it. Is it the old or the new one? I think this, you have not removed the old one.
Okay, let me remove the old one. Minutes of the 30th. Sorry, I'll be with you now.
Okay.
My screen sharing has failed to start.
Okay. It's for your cousin in the meeting.
Buyakazi, could you put the,
Yes,
Well-
Chairperson, the meeting.
could you flight the minutes of the 30th of March, please?
Okay.
There's two sets of minutes that you have to flight for the 30th of March. Thank you.
We just see the screen of your computer. Vuyokazi,
Yes, Chairperson.
there is no minutes on the screen. Is the screen of your computer, which shows all.
Buyakazi, if you could double click on the minutes of 31st of March, DWS and BRRR.
Can you see now? Can you see the minutes now?
No.
No. Okay.
Does members have copies? Because they can open their laptops and then we can go through them through their. Members,
Chair,
you have copies?
we do, Chair.
Okay. Let's open our gadgets in the meantime. There we are.
Can you see them now, Chair?
Yes, we can see. Members, page 1 of the minutes.
Still the same thing in the first page, my initials.
Okay, noted.
Let it be corrected. Page 2. This is, it's something else, this one. Minutes. Okay, yes. Page 2.
Page 3.
Page 2. We're still on page 2. Anything on page 2, members?
This is the H. Okay.
These the minutes of 31st?
Yes.
Yes. I see the members who might be
30th.
confused by the NHBRC. We've spoken about the CEO of the NHBRC as we open the minutes.
Oh, these
Um,
are 30th, Chairperson.
Hey,
yes,
no,
yes.
are we not in the 31st?
No, we must start with 30th and then we go to the
30th.
30th. Hmm? Can we go to page 3? Anything on page 3?
Think it's fine, Chair.
Page 4? Page 5? Scroll it to page 5, Kuyokazi. Anything on page 5? Page 6? Anything on page 6, members? Page 7? Can we get the mover for the adoption of the minutes as the true reflection of what happened in the meeting of the 30th?
Chair. Second.
Honorable Tseke. Honorable Tseke moves. Can we get the seconder?
Mvana,
Honorable Mbana second.
thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. The minutes is duly adopted. Can we then go to the last minutes of the 31st? Biogazi?
Okay, Chairperson.
Same issue on page 1 of the initials, myself, Mvana.
First of March, page 1. Scroll it, Biogazi. Page 1. Page 1. So that members can see their, whether we've spelled them the page 2, if there is anything on page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Go to page 3, Biogazi. Page 4. Page 5. There we are, members. Anything on page 5? Page 6.
Page 6 is okay, Chair. Thank you.
Page 7.
Page 7 is fine, Chairperson.
Page 8. I'm the one who's directing you where to go, Biogazi. You don't have to rush when members are speaking. Page 8. Can we get the mover for the adoption of the minutes?
Mvana
I
move.
move
As a true reflection, Chair.
Honorable Mvana moves. Can we get the seconder?
Mama Siswai is seconding.
Honorable Sekhai is seconding. Thank you very much. The minutes is duly adopted. Let's go to item number 2, which will then be the HDA annual report. Sabelo.
Yes, Chairperson, can I get sharing powers, please? Vyogazi,
Done.
thanks. It's still disabled. Vyogazi,
Done, Sabelo.
okay. Good morning, Honorable Chair, honorable members and colleagues. I'm going to take you through the HDA report. With regards to the introduction, the Portfolio Committee on Human Settlements considered the 2019-2020 annual report of the HDA on the 2nd of March 2021 and 13 March 2021. The HDA delayed tabling their annual report and presentation. This report provides a reflection of the HDA's annual report on 2019-2020 financial year and 2019-2020 audit outcomes of the HDA by Ngubane auditors. It also provides the Portfolio Committee observation and recommendation. With regards to program performance, program number 1 of the HDA, this program focuses on ensuring that the organization's operations and resources are administered effectively and efficiently. The following sub-programs are part of the program: sub-program Office of the CEO and sub-program Office of the Chief Financial Officer. The program provides strategic leadership, ensures that there is good governance, that the agency is financially stable and becomes a high-performing organization. With regards to target, the target on funding model developed and approved by the board by 31st March 2020, performance was not achieved. The final model was not developed. The draft funding model had been developed, tabled at ESCO for recommendations and improvements of the model made before finalization. Target number 2, 35 of BEE level 1 to 4 supported through HDA budget spent, achieved 80.62% of BEE level through the HDA budget. The target was exceeded due to implementation of pre-qualifications criteria, which disqualifies companies that do not meet the criteria. Program number 2, which is land management. Through this program, the HDA delivers one of its key objectives containing in the HDA Act number 23 of 2008. This is to identify, hold, acquire, develop and release state, communal and privately owned land for residential and community purposes in pursuit of creating sustainable human settlements. The target under this program is 3,000 hectares of well-located land identified for human settlements development. In this area, performance was achieved 3,045.53 hectares of well-located land identified for human settlements development. This target was exceeded due to substantial number of requests from provinces for the HDA to assist with identification of well-located land. The second target, 3,000 hectares of well-located land targeting poor and middle-income households required or released. Performance was achieved. 3,514.5 hectares of well-located land was acquired or released. The target was exceeded due to land parcel measuring 569 hectares that was released, which contributed significantly. Target, a sector-wide land assembly strategy developed and approved by board by 31st March 2020. Performance was not achieved. The sector-wide land assembly strategy inception report was finalized during the period when the agency was placed under administration. Various internal processes were placed on hold, including procurement. This resulted in delays in the appointment of service provider for this indicator. With regards to program number 3, regional coordination and human settlements implementation support services. This program is composed of 2 sub-programs, regional coordination and strategic initiatives. Through this program, the HDA meets objectives 4B of the Housing Development Agency, number 43 of 2008, which requires the HDA to project manage housing development services for the purpose of creation of sustainable human settlements. This is achieved through provision of project management support, and in some cases being supported as an implementing agent for provinces and municipalities to deliver sustainable human settlements. The target under this program, 9 provinces provided with capacity support as per MTOPs and business plan. The performance was not achieved. 8 provinces provided with capacity support as per MTOPs and business plan. Eastern Cape MTOP agreement had not been finalized. The second target, 6,498 human settlements unit delivered and supported. Performance was not achieved. 4,655 human settlements units were delivered or supported. The target was not achieved due to the following challenges. In the Eastern Cape, project listed in the provincial business plan for year 2019-2020 were not ready for implementation, awaiting additional funding for fixing of slabs at Kayamnandi, 479. In the Northern Cape, the province allocated additional work to the HDA, late NHBRC home enrollment in Diamond Park and design changed in Priska. In Gauteng, community protest, illegal invasion of Mackenzie Extension 2, poor performing contractors due to cash flow challenges. In Limpopo, poor performance of contractors due to poor cash flow and planning, disruptive community protest affecting construction on site. and availability of stand for military veterans housing. The target number 3, 9,100 human settlement service site delivered or supported. Performance was not achieved. 6,041 human settlements service site delivered or supported. The target was not achieved due to the following challenges: Northern Cape delays of BAC and Treasury approvals for the extension of time request, refusal of informal donors to relocate from phase 2 area that was earmarked for 150 sites. In Gauteng, scarcity of land for relocation of informal settlements, which delays site and service projects. Poor performing contractors due to cash flow challenges. Northwest, informal settlements invasion to service stand. Target number 4, 2,000 title deeds facilitated for registration. Performance was not achieved. 403 title deeds facilitated for registration. In Limpopo, the untraceable beneficiary affecting handling over the title deed for completed housing units. Target number 5, strategic initiative business case developed and approved by 31st March 2020. Performance was not achieved. The project could not be undertaken due to budget constraint. During the period when the agency was placed under administration, various internal processes were placed on hold, including procurement. This resulted in delays in the appointment of service providers for this target. With regards to program number 4, this is program planning and design. This program is made up of 2 sub-programs: program planning and design and spatial information management and planning. Through this program, the HDA manages national priority programs such as catalytic projects, mining town, informal settlements upgrading program. In addition, the program provides spatial planning and support for sustainable land development. With regards to target 3 program, including catalytic project, mining town, and the NASP implemented, performance was achieved. 3 PD program have been implemented in the quarter in review: mining towns, catalytic project, and NASP. Second target, 34 informal settlements provided with technical and capacity implementation support. Performance was not achieved. 6 informal settlements provided with technical and capacity implementation support. During this period, when the agency was placed under administration, various internal processes were placed on hold, including procurement. This resulted in delay in the appointment of service providers to assist with technical support provision for this target. Target number 3, 50 catalytic projects and mega projects provided with capacity and delivery support. Performance was achieved. 50 catalytic projects and mega projects were provided with capacity and delivery support. Target number 5, special transformation plans approved. Performance was achieved. 5 special transformation plans approved for Emma Lahleni and Steve Twete. Council resolution for Matlosana, Rand West City, West Rand, Mohale City, and Tabazimbi. Approved special transformation plans by the Matlosana, Rand West City, West Rand, Mohale City, and Tabazimbi local municipality. Target number 2, strategy for labor sending areas for the Eastern Cape developed and approved by the board by 31st March 2020. Performance was not achieved. The labor sending area strategy had been finalized and submitted to ESCO for approval. During this period, when the agency was placed under administration, various internal processes were placed on hold, including procurement. This resulted in delays in the appointment of service providers for this target. The following target, strategy for mining legacy asset developed and approved by the board by 31st March 2020. Performance was not achieved. The revised terms of reference have been finalized through the bid specification committee. During the period when the agency was placed under administration, various internal processes were placed on hold, including procurement. This resulted in delays in the appointment of service providers for this target. The following target, 100% mapping request supported for land identification. Target was achieved, 100% mapping request supported for land identification. Following target, 96% availability of online, just hold on, of online inventory and supporting system. Target was achieved, 99.5.6 availability of online land inventory and supporting systems. The following target, 20 projects assessed on special transformation. Target was achieved, 20 projects assessed on special transformation. The following target, 154 assessment of HDA land and landed properties facilitated between 2009 to 2019. Target was achieved, 154 assessments conducted by HDA land and landed properties. The following target, 58 PhDs identified for consultation. Target was achieved, 136 PhSDAs approved by the Minister of Human Settlements, Water and Sanitation as declared and to be gazetted shortly. The number of identified PhDAs for preliminary declaration had increased. Target, following target, 94 PhDAs identified for preliminary declaration. Target was achieved, 136 PhSDAs approved by the Minister of Human Settlements, Water and Sanitation as declared and to be gazetted. The number of identified PhDAs for preliminary declaration has increased. With regards to part number 3, the briefing by Ngubane auditors on the outcome of the annual report of the HDA 2019-2020 financial year. Ngubane and company was the appointed auditors for the HDA during the year under review and has performed this function for the past 3 years. The entity received a qualified audit opinion in the last 2 years and regressed post the 2018-2019 audit. For the financial year under review, the entity received a qualified audit outcome with modification on project receivables and project obligations, irregular expenditure, and project payables. It also had findings on performance information due to its inability to maintain listing as well as compliance with some regulations. The irregular expenditure increased over 2 years. Irregular expenditure of 114 million in 2018, 2019, and 106 million in the year 2019, 2020. Fruitless and wasteful expenditure increased over 2 years, 2 million in 2018, 2019, and 17 million whereby money was spent without contract signed. The root cause of deficiencies were low or no response to improving key controls and addressing risk areas, low response to consequence management, inadequate year-end closing processes, and instability or vacancy rate in key positions. The auditor observed that the entity did not comply with the National Treasury requirements in COVID-19 procurement, preferential procurement policy framework, and the entity supply chain management policies. Findings would be assessed in the 2021-22 financial year period audit. The auditors recommended that the Department of Human Settlements and the HDA should timely fill the key position with relevant, qualified, and skilled personnel. Acting appointments would be minimized, and stability at senior management level was necessary. Consequence management should be applied to ensure compliance with the relevant laws and regulations. Timely implementation to track action plan should be undertaken by management to prevent recurrence of findings. Management should address risk identified and improve internal controls. The appointment of the board should be finalized and should be constituted in line with the HDA Act. The portfolio committee should request management to provide feedback on the implementation and progress of action plans to ensure further improvements in the implementation of audit outcomes. It should also monitor the implementation of consequence management. With regards to section number 4, this is committee observations and recommendation. So the portfolio committee was provided the following observation and recommendation. The committee was, number 1, the committee was concerned about instability at senior management level, which had resulted in declining performance within the HDA. Recommendation: strengthen oversight over the HDA to ensure stability and recovery. Report to the Committee on Action Consolidation of Consequence Management. However, the committee welcomed the dismissal of two senior officials as consequence management. Recommendation: ensure that consequence management is instituted in all wrongdoings by officials. Number 6, the committee was concerned about irregular expenditure increase over 2 years. This is irregular expenditure of 114 million in year 2018-2019 and 106 million in 2019-2020. Recommendation, ensure consequence management to ensure compliance with the relevant laws and regulation. Number 7, the committee was concerned about fruitless and wasteful expenditure increase over 2 years of 2 million in 2018 to 2019 and 17 million in 2019 to 2020 financial year. Recommendation, institute a recovery process to recover wasted state funds. Number 8, the committee was concerned about HDA received a qualified audit opinion in the last 2 years and regressed post the 2018-2019 audit. Recommendation, management should provide feedback on the implementation and progress of the action plan to ensure further improvement in the implementation of audit outcome. Quarterly report should be provided to the committee. A report should be considered. Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members.
Thank you very much, Sabelo. Members, that was the report of the HDA. Can I get members to speak to the report?
Chairperson, it's Honorable Powell.
Yes, Honorable Powell.
Chairperson, I don't think that the report goes far enough in terms of Section 4, Committee Observations and Recommendations. You and the committee members will recall the extensive discussions that we had over 2 separate meetings on this matter, and the inputs that were made by a number of committee members. I think someone's microphone is not muted. And I'd just like to raise in terms of the report, but specifically Section 4, that I would like the following information to be included. That, and Chairperson, I draw your attention to the Rules of the National Assembly, Section 166, 4B.1, which states that if a report is not unanimous, it must specify in which respects there was not consensus, and in addition to the views representative of the majority in the committee, express any views of a minority in the committee. And it is in terms of this section that I make my recommendations and inputs. Firstly, that the reporting that's recorded here around the combination of irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure is understated. In terms of the report that served before our committee, the cumulative total was 131,886,000 recorded cumulatively for the financial year in question, which was up from 109,430,000 in the previous year. So that 131,800,000 figure needs to be included in this report because it's not stated in full. I'm just looking in terms of the audit statement. Yeah, it's here in this report, it's 114 million, and then the separate amount of 17 million. There were then concerns expressed by numerous members of the committee around the salaries and the bonuses, and those are not reflected here. So there were lots of conversations around the 5.4 million rand salary for the CEO, as well as the omission in the presentations given to us that more than 4.3 million rand was paid in bonuses, and the committee unanimously actually expressed concern over bonuses being paid for these dismal reports. then I'd like the report to please include, certainly from a minority perspective, that there was a request made by a member of the committee that, in line with the provisions of the PFMA, the Public Finance Management Act, that Minister Sisulu be summoned to the committee to present full details of all disciplinary processes arising from the repeated irregular expenditure incurred by the entity. 1. 2, that a full inquiry is held into the actions of both the executive authority and the accounting authority of the board from the beginning of the financial year to date, because we know that there have been a number of CEOs, CFOs that have been hired, fired. So that a request was made for an inquiry. Then further, that a request was made to the committee that the report be referred to the Auditor General for a special investigation, because, as the committee will recall, these financial statements were only audited by Ngobani auditors, and we asked as a committee that these financial statements be referred to the AG for special investigation, that they also be referred to SCOPA for an inquiry. And we also asked the Auditor General directly, the Auditor General's representative, that the entity be included in the scope for upcoming years, that the Auditor General directly looks at these financial statements. And then lastly, Chairperson, the cash holdings. The cash holdings of this entity, despite their dismal financial status, were more than 497 million rand in cash holdings. And we express concern around that, especially in light of these talks to recapitalize the entity. We don't need to recapitalize the entity because they've got these cash holdings already that are just being rolled over. So I think that the cash holdings need to be stated as well. And then just lastly, I'll be quick, the audit report noted a list of problems, no adequate systems for identifying irregular expenditure, payments made against unknown receipts, overpayments for work not performed, work done without agreements in place, contracts awarded to suppliers without valid tax certificates, contracts extended and modified without the approval of delegated officials, financial statements not prepared. And our committee unanimously expressed deep concern over all of this cumulatively. And Chairperson, I don't feel that this report goes far enough in terms of Section 4, committee recommendations and observations. These recommendations are generalized. For example, on 4.1, it says strengthen oversight over the HDA to ensure stability and recovery and report to the committee on actions taken. I mean, our committee put so many more specific recommendations forward that were based on substantive legislation that exists in this country to hold entities and departments accountable. That needs to be recorded in the recommendations. If I could draw the committee members' attention to the recommendations placed before us today, I think that all committee members will agree that these recommendations are really not substantive enough. So I'm happy to put my submissions in writing, but in terms of 166 of the National Rules of the Assembly, this report does, in fact, legally need to take my recommendations into account. Over to you, Chairperson.
That's your interpretation, Honourable Member. Let's allow other members to talk to the report, but that one is your interpretation. There is no such thing that...
Chair, the rules are very, very, very clear. It says that a report must express the views of a minority. Those are what the rules said. It's not an interpretation, Chairperson.
Honourable Member.
Okay, I'll record this meeting and refer it where necessary if the committee members do not agree, Chairperson, but it's not an interpretation. I'm reading from the rules directly.
Honourable Member, allow me to chair the meeting. Let's allow other members to speak to the issues. The majority will rule in this report, Honourable Member.
And the minority views will be recorded in line with the rules of the National Assembly, Chairperson.
Honourable Teki, this is not the minutes, Honourable Powell, it's a report. The report.
Correct, and there's section 166, Chairperson, don't read it.
Can you listen, Honourable Member?
Chairperson, you're arguing on a point that is legislated.
Honourable Member, we have given you time to speak. When I speak, you must keep quiet. We have allowed you to speak. When I'm speaking,
not if you're misleading, not if you mislead the committee.
It's not for you to say that. Members will then raise their views on the report. Honourable Brutus, Honorable Mvana.
Chairperson, thank you very much. I want to sympathize with Member Powell because indeed all of us we were concerned about HDA. But if I could request, Chair, if the recommendations can be put just up a little bit, because I think Member Powell has not seen or read those recommendations. These recommendations, Chair, are responding to the concern that we have raised. One wants to propose, Chair, that let's give HDA 6 months. And then in 6 months' time, Chair, we will call HDA, not because it's their term to report or time to report, but it's because of the concerns that we have raised as a committee, for them to come back and the department to report on the developments, on the correct measures they have taken, including their internal disciplinary or consequence management programs. And at that time, in my view, the current recommendations reflect that the HDA and the department are willing to crack the whip, and I support that process, Chair. Thank you.
Honorable Mvana.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Chairperson, I don't sympathize with Honorable Powell at all, because I don't understand her status or in fact on how she puts things. Reason for me to say that, Chairperson, we all of us as portfolio committee concerned on the progress of HDA. And we got the answers. And I still believe that what they have said, that everything will be corrected according to what they have said to us. So I don't see any need for now for the commissions, for everything, for all what she's talking about. This report, Honorable Tseki, is fine. In fact, is right when he says that we must at least try to give them time frame for all what they have promised to correct. Otherwise, this, you are right, Chairperson, also to say this is a report. It doesn't need anything. It's not minutes where we are going to table word by word and who said what. So this report, in my thinking, it's fine, Chairperson. We have to move forward. Otherwise, we are going to monitor closely and we are going to get reports quarterly as we agreed in the previous meeting. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mvana. Honorable Mashego.
Thank you, Chairperson. I must say that indeed, as Honorable Tseki was saying, our concern, even if you can look at our previous meetings, we were worried that there seems to be no preparatory work that is being done by HDA, and there is no progress, commitment and progress during those meetings that we had. Unfortunately, on this report, there is progress. There is recommendations that they are also committing themselves to. The only thing that was lacking, of course, is the time frame. So the proposal by Member Tseki that we give them 6 months to come and report for us to can see whether indeed there is progress. I'm sure at that time, if indeed that progress is not there, we might want to think along the line that Member Powell is thinking. But for now, I think there is a report that gives hope that there is work that is going to be done. And I think let's give them the benefit of doubt. In that 6 months' time, when we come and assess,
if indeed nothing has been done, we can work on it. I therefore want to third the proposal by Member Seki that we accept the report, but put a time frame of that 6 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mashego. And I must indicate that we said that the HDA should develop an action plan to respond on the outcome of the audit, which in 6 months we will have to receive that progress report in terms of the implementation of those the audit action plan in correcting or responding to the auditor recommendations. So there is that element. I think we can say within 6 months we should call the HDA to get to understand how far are they in implementing that action plan. Ruta Seki, you're still raising your hands.
Chairperson, it's Honorable Powell. May
I? Will be followed by Honorable Seki. Yes. Continue, Honorable Powell.
Thank you. Chairperson, the dispute here is not whether or not there's agreement from the committee members on my recommendations. The dispute before this committee is in terms of the specifications of the rules of the National Assembly in terms of section 166(4)(b), which I will read again to the committee. It says, if a report is not unanimous, it must, in addition to the views representative of the majority in a committee, express any views of a minority in the committee and specify in which respects there is consensus. Therefore, it does not matter whether or not the members on this committee that have spoken now, the 3 members of your political party, it doesn't matter whether or not they agree. They don't have to agree. My contention to the committee is that in terms of the rules of the National Assembly, this report is required in law to specify dissenting or minority views and recommendations. Chairperson, that is the dispute before this committee. So if your members don't want to agree, that's absolutely their democratic prerogative. But by law, this report has got to state minority views that dissent from the majority views, because this report will be tabled before Parliament. Chairperson, that is my contention here. I would therefore like to ask that my minority recommendations be included and that it be noted in the report that there is not consensus from the minority on the recommendations that have been approved by the majority.
Thank you, Honorable Powell. We are going to write there is a dissenting view on the report, full stop. We're not going to write all those things that we are talking about because we don't agree that, but we agree that you are differing with the report. So if you yes, we'll
I will be referring this matter to the Rules Committee for further clarity, Chairperson.
Yes. We'll write that there is a different view from Honorable Powell in terms of writing the report, because the report is you consolidate all the views. You not specify on one issue or what individually says in the meeting. You consolidate all the views, but if the members still doesn't agree with the consolidation, therefore we then note that you differ with the report and that it will go there to the House with that view that you differed with the report. Thank you very much.
Chairperson, it says in the rules that the report must specify in which respects there was not consensus. So
On
it
the
has to
recommendation and
specify.
I'm saying it's your interpretation.
Okay, I'll
Specify
refer
what
it to the rules
option-
committee. I'll refer it to the rules committee and they can
Yes.
provide written clarity to our committee chairperson.
Yes,
Please note the
thank you very
objection.
much.
Please note the
Thank you
objection
very
of the DA.
Yes, we'll note it, Honorable Member, the objection of the DA. Can we then have the minutes? Can I get members to move for the adoption? Let's second with the names, Honorable Members. Just to move for the adoption of the report, and then we get second as procedure.
Me, Robert Mashiro does.
Robert Mashiro.
I'm Vana, seconds.
Okay, thank you very much. And then we'll note the objection of the member of DA on
But she
the.
mustn't take us to workshop, Chair. She must stop that thing of taking us to workshop.
Objection, Chair. Can I ask for your protection? I haven't asked for anybody to do a workshop.
Honorable Mvana, can we proceed? Let's go to the minutes. Can we get the minutes be put on the screen?
Chairperson,
Yes.
I'm putting up these minutes because I'm assuming that Kolisa is not in a meeting.
Yes.
Okay, no, that's fine, Chair.
Page 1. Can you scroll the page 1? Anything on page 1, members? Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Okay, any correction on the minutes? Go up, Sabelo, take it up. Any correction on the minutes of the 2nd of March 2021?
Chair, please note the objection of the DA.
We'll note the objection of the DA. Can we get the mover for the adoption of the minutes?
I move the adoption of the minutes, Chair. Brutus Tseki.
Brutus Tseki move for the adoption of the minutes. Can we get the seconder?
Grace Tseki, second, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. The minutes is duly accepted. Can we then go to the other pair of minutes, Sabelo?
They are reflecting, Chairperson.
Okay, let's go to page 1. Go down until page 1. Okay, Sabelo. Yeah, you're going to page 2. Page 1. Correct. Anything on page 1? Nothing. Page 2. Go to page 2, Sabelo.
Chairperson, what's had? I think where we see Poya, he's the acting CEO of the HDA. I don't know who Mr. Mini is. And then Masimola.
Can we then I can't see that, honorable member.
Sabelo is rectifying it, Chair.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's
Okay.
doing corrections on it.
Okay, thank you very much, honorable member.
Is Poya, the title of that individual is the acting CEO.
Okay, thank you very much, honorable member Powell. Can we then proceed to? I think Sabelo, what Koliso must do is to get title of all the people who are in the meeting, and verify before the minutes can be signed, and make sure that we are giving the appropriate title to or designated individual title to relevant people, so that these minutes should reflect the true reflection of the minutes. And thank you very much. It is MRS.
Honorable Chot.
Or honorable Chet. It will be helpful if you can use the honorable than Mrs. and page 4. Any other thing on page 4? Page 5.
Chairperson, on that 5.5, where it notes details of the settlement agreement will be provided to the portfolio committee within 7 days. Can you just confirm, please, whether or not we did receive that detail?
Koliso is not here, honorable member. I can't confirm now. I don't have it with me. I will just check with Koliso and then we can distribute it to members. Can we then proceed to page 6? Any other thing, members? And let's go to page 7. Thank you very much. Can I get the mover for the adoption of the minutes?
Please note the objection of the DA.
We will note it, honorable member. Can I get the mover for the adoption of the minutes? Members, are we saying we don't adopt the minutes? Should we?
I was trying to check if I was there, Chair. I move for the adoption, Chair.
Mr. Tseki, move for the adoption of the minutes. Can I get the seconder? Members, can I get the seconder of the minutes?
Chair, can we look at the register, the attendance register? It looks as if I was not part of this meeting.
Were you not there or you've been omitted? Honorable Mvana, Honorable Sifai, you're part of the meeting.
I was not there, Chair. I apologize.
Mina was there, Chair.
Yes. So can
Yeah.
I get the support, the seconder for Honorable Tseki?
I am seconding, Chair.
I do,
Thank you
Chair.
very much.
I do.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mashefo and Honorable Mvana. The minutes is truly adopted. Thank you very much. I think this was the last minute. Do we have any set of minutes? We had 2 minutes of the HDA.
Yes,
Yes.
Chairperson.
Okay. Can we then go to the item on the Lesotho trip? So that let me explain to members that we had made the application as a portfolio committee of 10 members to go to Lesotho, and then the presiding officers returned back to us to say that the expenses is too high. They reduce the number and we were allocated in terms of the party. The ANC was allocated for GA1, EFF1, and then the 2 staff members, those are the people that would go to Lesotho. And that's it. And I'm now going to allow Gazi to talk about what is needed for members. Those
Chair,
that do.
Honourable
Yes.
Powell, may I
Yes.
leave the meeting? I'm not going to Lesotho, so I don't believe it's necessary for me to remain.
Okay, no, you're welcome, honourable member.
Thanks, Chairperson. Have a good weekend, colleagues.
Same to you, my dear one. Who's this one? Bergman Vyogazi?
Chairperson,
Yes, do you have anything to inform members around the Lesotho issues?
Chairperson, for now, the application is still with the funding application. We still NOMTU is still facilitating the funding application. On the 3rd, we will leave from our provinces to Joburg. We will sleep over in Joburg, OR Tambo, because the flight is 9:30. We need to be there 2 hours before. We will sleep in OR. I don't have the hotel yet. I will communicate the hotel sometime tomorrow or Sunday. And another thing is that members that are going needs to go and do the test, the rapid test, and get the certificates because they need to produce them.
What do you call it? What do you call this test?
Rapid COVID-19 test. That one is faster. You get the, like if you go to this camp is cheaper, is 350 to do the test, and you get your results in 15 minutes time. You get the certificate that you will produce at the airport.
You say it's a, what do you call it?
It's a rapid COVID-19 test. RAPID, rapid COVID-19 test. Members, you need to pay for that because we don't have time now to apply for Parliament to pay. But you need to keep your slips. I will take them and then I will claim back your monies. Preferably if you can go to this camp, it's cheaper. But they don't do the test during weekends. It's only Monday to Friday until 4 o'clock today.
Okay.
Well, okay, that for now, that's all, because when you arrive in Lesotho, we will sleep at Avani Hotel, but we're still waiting for the confirmation from the travel agent. I will tell you, members, when the funding application is approved, I will communicate, I will send everything via SMS, and I also will call you sometime during the weekend. What's happening? Yes. That's
Thank
all
you.
for now, Chair.
Thank you, Vyogazi. The weather, I think we should, as you sent information, assist members with the weather.
Okay, Chairperson.
Yeah, we should know what to take on.
Honorable Mashiko and Honorable Mashiko, your passport will be ready by today. I just checked your passport. Probably if you didn't get the SMS by 1 o'clock, I was told that you can drive and fetch your passport because the passport is. I've called the ministry, and this morning they were checking. They said the passport is ready. That's all, Chair.
Okay, Honorable Musala is similarly not in the meeting. What we can do is to call her.
Oh, okay, I've called her already.
Okay. All
Yes,
right.
accordingly.
Okay.
Chair, don't forget about the name, another name for the members.
Okay. Thank you very much for the information. The program, I think, on Monday, as we meet in Johannesburg, we can then look at the program and so that members would then be able to have the program with them, what is expected of them in Johannesburg. But any details that would help members in the process of this trip, please convey or give them information as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bon voyage, honorable members.
Yes, and then the members, even if for now you are not being told you are going, we must just be ready for in case any more body can have a problem. So I need to know that things can happen between now and Monday. Please, members.
Chairperson is for how many days?
We're leaving on Monday. We'll be sleeping in Johannesburg, and then traveling to Lesotho on Tuesday, and then on Friday we'll still be in Lesotho because the work ends at around 1, and we have only one flight, so members will be then travel back to Johannesburg on Saturday. Is it clear, Honorable Tseki?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, members. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Enjoy, honorable members. Till we meet again.